Hello, welcome to the Eclectic Reader. Listen to great books and stories while you use your eyes and hands for other things. Now here's your host, Madison Mason.
Hi, Madison Mason here. I'm so glad you're enjoying The Grey Quarry Boys. This is chapter 53. The Grey Quarry Boys, chapter 53, The Mud Man. Ronnie remembers seeing some kind of barrier as he and Roxanne ran up the walk to the stairs, but he hadn't paid attention. He was too busy. This must be what they're working on, he thought. Can anybody hear me? I'm down in a hole. Nothing. I'm just a kid down here. What if nobody ever finds me? He thought, and tears came to his eyes. But he fought them off. Help! Somebody! He yelled, and kept yelling until he was hoarse. Then he yelled until he got a headache. Help! I'm down here! He tried climbing up the wall, but the hole was too deep for a kid his size, and the walls were straight up. He groped around in the dark and found a 2x4, which he propped up against the side of the hole. He tried to shinny up the muddy board again and again, but only slid back down into the stagnant goop for all his efforts. And now he was hurt and angry. Everybody was inside, having a great time, and did anybody even think about him or where he might be? Heck no. I'm down here in the hole, damn it! He yelled, tearful with annoyance. He stomped his foot so hard in the gluey mud his shoe came off. Somebody! Hey! Ronnie Morton stayed in that black pit for what seemed a lifetime, but he had time to reason with himself. He knew Roxanne would look for him, and his mother would get worried, but no one would think to look down in this stupid hole that some dumb guys dug and left wide open in the middle of the yard on the night of the fall festival. How stupid. A kid could just come along here in the dark and fall in. Jerks. Finally, someone either got bored or tired, or one of the teachers made an announcement that the fall festival was over or something, but people started trickling out of the school. Ronnie could hear voices approaching, laughing and still enjoying themselves. He started yelling in earnest with all his might, but his voice was drowned out by a bunch of sixth-grade boys who came thundering by, chasing screaming girls past the hole, oblivious. He kept on yelling after they faded away, and finally he heard someone say, "What was that?" He hollered for all he was worth then. "Help! I'm in this hole! Get me out, please!" Then he saw a head peer over the edge of the hole, and a woman said, "Well, what in the world? How did you get in there?" This struck Ronnie Morton as the dumbest question he had ever heard in his brief but annoying life. But he was so happy that someone had discovered him he could only say, "I fell." "Hey, some kid fell in this hole," an older kid yelled. And within seconds the perimeter of the crater was rimmed with a wall of heads, all peering into the darkness and asking who it was. Finally, Mom's head appeared, and she said, "Thank God you're in there, Ronald." He hated being called Ronald. She only did this when she was real mad or worried. "I've been worried sick. Roxanne, too. How in the world did you get in there?" "Mom, just get me out," he barked. A roar went up, and everybody laughed heartily at that one. Ronnie wished they were all dead or down in the hole, and he was up there. This was humiliating. Flashlights were produced, blinding him. Finally, Doyle, the janitor, lowered a ladder down, and Ronnie Morton climbed out to freedom. The whole school let up a giant cheer, which echoed away into the night. Everybody was very concerned that he was all right, especially Roxanne. Ronnie said thank you, he was, but inside he just wished they would all go away. "Ronald, look at your clothes," Mom said. Standing in the light of the school, he could see he was literally covered in mud. A little mud man from Mudville. He felt like it too. He was in a mud mood, mud-colored and glum. He wanted to leave now. He stomped to the car. The ride home was agony. He was embarrassed beyond imagining. He sat in the back seat on newspaper. Mom didn't want mud all over the seat. Ronnie's ears burned bright red in the darkness as tears made clean marks down his face. Mom told the stupid story again. "We looked all over the school for you and asked everybody if they had seen you. We were all so worried. And how in the world did you happen to fall in that hole anyway?" It didn't even help much when Roxanne Penninger leaned over and whispered in his ear, "I was real worried too. I'm glad you're all right." And her hand touched his. It just made him feel stupider. He knew what it would be like when Joey found out. Joey would make his life miserable. On Roxanne's porch, he held the screen for her while she opened the door and tried not to laugh. "You're all over mud," she giggled finally. He looked down at what he could see of himself, and he had to grin. He was a brown kid, but she didn't seem to mind. "I guess I am." "I wish it didn't happen, but I had a good time, Ronnie. Thank you for, well, bye." And then, right there, on her front porch, in front of God and Mrs. Morton, under the yellow bug light, Roxanne Penninger, who Ronnie Morton accidentally shot in the head with a paperclip in the 3rd grade, threw her arms around his neck and planted a kiss right on his pink and muddy lips and took his breath away. She smiled at him, a small spot of mud on the end of her nose. "Good night." Ronnie didn't move, just stood quiet, heart pounding, muddy and grinning as Roxanne closed the door. He turned and floated back to the idling station wagon and climbed in the back seat, still alive with Roxanne's presence. His mother smiled in the mirror as she pulled out the gravel drive and accelerated along the dark highway. "I enjoyed the fall festival, despite what happened. Did you have a good time tonight, dear?" Muddy Ronnie Morton sat in the darkness, the innocent kiss still warm on his lips, and smiled happily, his heart full. "Yeah, great time, Mom. Thanks."
We hope you have enjoyed this episode of The Eclectic Reader. Please go on to the next numbered episode to continue. Also, check us out on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. If you'd like to help support the project, you can donate under Madison Mason at Patreon. And please check out our website, kltkrdr.com, for more information.
Hi, this is Madison Mason. I want to personally thank you for listening to The Eclectic Reader and invite you to share your experience, your thoughts, and your suggestions. We have many great books lined up for the future, but if you have requests for anything that is in the public domain, please email us at kltkrdr@gmail.com.
kltkrdr@gmail.com